Okay, and while we're here, I want to make a little video. Um, and you guys who are working here in the classroom, you can check it out if you want to while you're working on your stuff. But I want to do a little bit of work to show people how to do some of these documents. If you are forced to use Google Chrome, like some people in the, who are not able to come to school for whatever reason, I want to show you guys how to do some of the things that we do with the pictures in Google Chrome. That way you've got some ability to do some of the things that we've done in the classroom. Okay, so for lesson 9, formatting graphics objects, I've got here the W09 try document. I'm going to open it up with Google Docs. Okay. So that's got this thing here with the Martha's Vineyard, and it's got the picture, and it's got the text, and it's got the little sun symbol, which I don't think you can. I don't think you can necessarily find this in Google Chrome, but it did transfer it from Word since it came with the Word document. Okay. So for starters, one of the formatting objects thing that we're doing was wrapping text around objects. You can see that when you click on the picture, you're going to get this little drop down right here. These few options down here on the bottom. Okay, you got 3 buttons right here. The first one is inline with text. Okay, you see that it's inline with text. That's what it is right now. The picture's here. This part of the paragraph is also on the same line as it, and it creates this big giant space of nothing right next to it. You do have another button next to it that says wrap text. So if you wanted to do the thing in the book where we did wrap text, it's available to you right here. Okay, and you can click on that, and the text, just like the other one, wraps around it. Now, one of the things you can see is that it creates a margin. A margin is a thing that basically says what kind of space around are we going to have that's a buffer zone for everything else. Right now it's got a 0-inch margin, and if you look at the picture, the words are butted right up next to the picture. And sometimes when you get letters like I, that's not very good because it starts to blend in with the picture, and people who don't have the best of vision might not see some of the things that are there. So you might want to consider putting in a little bit of a margin on those so that these things do not go right up next to the picture. They can be like right off it. So I changed that right here with the, it was at 0 margin before. I changed it to 1/6. You can also there's a lot more margin spacing things. But a nice little 1/16 even is enough, excuse me, is enough to give a little bit of space between the picture and the words of the text. Okay. Now you can also see that the picture can be set to move with the text. It can be a fixed position on the page, or you can choose positioning options. Now, that brings up a side menu of image options, okay? Another way to get that, if you're not necessarily doing that particular thing, when you click on the picture, just like with Word, there are contextual tabs in Google Docs. When you click on the picture, this right here pops up, image options. You see the image options button right here. You can click on it, and you now have a sidebar of stuff that you can do. Okay. One of the things is the moving and positioning that we learned about in Word, where we use the position thing to do it. Okay. There is a drop-down menu here for size and rotation. You can choose the size of the picture by changing the width and height here. You can also move it in a scaled fashion. You can make it like 90% of the width or whatever. This button right here that says lock aspect ratio. Everybody pay attention to this real quick. Look up here, guys. If you ever see anything that says lock aspect ratio, what that means is if you have a square, it stays a square. If you have a rectangle of a certain dimension, it stays a rectangle of a certain dimension. Okay? That basically means that it's not going to, even if you pull directly to the right, like you want it to go this way, it's not going to just go straight out this way. It's going to go whoop like that because it's going to maintain the general shape of the square that you had before, okay? So that's what lock aspect ratio means. If you don't want it to stay that way, then you unclick that, and then you can make changes to it. But beware, like when you do that, you're basically doing silly putty, right? You guys know what I mean by that, right? Like you take a picture and you stretch it this way, then that person's face goes, you know, their face gets 5 feet wide. You know what I mean? All right, so you got to be careful with that. So lock aspect ratio means the picture stays in the same general shape, even if you try and like pull one side to increase the size of it or not. Okay. Now, one of the things that is in here, the rotation. You can also rotate the picture using this right here. Okay. You can also choose to use this little circle right here to do the same thing. So that's kind of like Word. Okay, it's basically the same kind of thing. All right. Text wrapping options are also available. You can choose to make it an inline text with wrap text, or just break the text so it's like on the sides. Wrapping around both sides. How much margins do you want around each portion of it? The position. You can fix the position on the page. You can basically do kind of like Word, where you tell it where you want it, top, middle, or right. Or you can also choose the middle options, left, center, and right, or the bottom options, right, center, and right. That's where this is in Google Chrome. The picture stuff, okay, we were talking about layering and grouping objects and doing pictures and things like that. Modifying the picture, there's recoloring options, but it's a very simple bar that just basically gives you some pre-chosen options to recolor the dot this way. Not a lot of options to it. You just basically choose one of the options that they give you. Okay, that's the recolor right there. And then you have a few adjustments. For example, transparency. You can make this picture somewhat see-through. That way, if you're able to get it on top of the text, you might be able to see through it a little bit. The brightness of it, you can increase the brightness. You can increase the contrast, like we did with Chrome. I'm sorry, with Word. Okay, so if you had it like on a regular, no recoloring, you can do the same thing that we did with Word. You can increase the brightness, or you can increase the contrast. Remember, the contrast just makes the colors more colorful. Okay, and if you decide that you have gone too far and done all kinds of screwy stuff, you can just reset it and turn it back into the original picture that it was before. Okay, all right. As far as clicking on objects and making them also moving together. Let's say you got your text wrapping here on your sun. You can move it around. Things move around it. You can right click, but your image options are kind of limited. See, you don't have that thing where you can bring it up and move it back. Doesn't really do it that well. You do have a drawing option. That's nice. But as far as getting it above or below certain things, might be difficult. Might be difficult for you to manage that. Okay. But one of the things you can do probably is you can hold down Control, click. Nope, can't do it. Can you? Ooh. Shift clicking also does not allow you to select both items at the same time. So it looks like a lot of that grouping stuff not going to happen with Word. Not going to happen the same way it does with Word. So that is something to keep in mind whenever you're doing Google Docs. You do need to put your pictures in the correct order, because it doesn't seem like it's got the ability to reorder these pictures very well. Okay. It's just kind of like, if you put this picture in first and then you put this in next, well, they're going to be underneath it. Sorry about that, Charlie. You got no options there. Okay. All right. So that's a lot of the stuff that we were doing in Chapter 9. As far as inserting a caption, I really didn't find anything that allows you to insert a caption on there. It's like I said, Google Docs is a much more basic version of Word. It does not really have a lot of the options available. I mean, you could do a comment, but that's not really the same. So captions are not a thing. If you have a little picture here, yeah, you can't really, I mean, you can choose to edit. Okay. You can choose to edit, and then maybe you can put a little text box on there and say, I, okay, and then save it. And then, yeah, that's how you can do some words. It's not as easy as Word is, okay? You do have to go and click on the picture, then say Edit, and then go into this drawing editor and use the little text box creator to put a little text box into your picture, okay? So, yeah, a lot more complicated than doing it in Word, okay? That's how you add text to a shape, okay? So that's the lesson 9 stuff. Smart art, honestly, I did not find any smart art at all in Google Chrome. Like I said, very basic stuff. Very basic stuff. I'm sorry, in Google Docs. Very basic stuff in Google Docs. It is not really the kind of program that's going to give you some really fancy stuff, like a smart art, which is going to be something that rearranges and readjusts itself. You can basically do a lot of that stuff on your own by yourself if you really choose to, if you want to. But it's a lot of work, and so I would choose carefully how much you want to get into that kind of stuff on a program like Chrome. Now, here's the thing that you can do. It's like if you find yourself in a position where it's like you know that you're going to have some time with a Word document, and you have just like the ability to get some work done, then I would suggest using the Word time for like the really complicated stuff, and then just using Google Chrome to type like the words. Okay, I mean that's honestly, it's like if you've got the option, like if you're doing your homework right now and you know that you only have a certain amount of time to get stuff done, just go ahead and like do the complicated steps first, and then come back and type in the paragraphs later. Okay, that's the best you can do if you've got some time with the Word document having computer and some time where you're just going to have to do it online with Chrome. You know, you got to make choices. I guess you just got to make choices in life sometimes. Okay, so that is that. That's all I really got for you on that front. Okay, like I said, this is the extent of your ability to manipulate text. You just basically have some styles available to you. Heading 1, heading 2, title style, stuff like that. You don't have a lot of options as far as making it extra fancy or having drop shadows or anything like that. Google Docs is not the kind of program that handles that kind of super fancy kind of stuff. Okay, so best you can do is just try and change the font to match what you need. Change the size, do some bold italics, maybe do some colors. You know, do some text colors. Highlighting is actually just like this. Then when they say highlight, they mean like just that. Well, actually, it's this way. You highlight it, and then you click on the highlighter. Okay? So that's the best I can offer you, people who are stuck with using Chrome for right now. A lot of stuff you can do in lesson 9, but it's not very helpful for anything on lesson 10. That's why we're not going to do a lesson 10 practice. We're just going to do lesson 9. Okay? All right. So continue on with what you're doing. Continue with the lesson 9 practice. Finish that up. Turn that in. Okay. Yes.
Like the word of the day, quote of the day.
All right. Hang on just a second. Let's stop the recording because that's what I wanted to record for that information.